Welcome to Tales from the Dark, a place where shadows whisper stories and nightmares come alive. Dim your lights, put on your headphones, and get ready, because tonight the darkness itself will be your storyteller. Each tale you hear will linger, creeping beneath your skin, haunting your dreams long after the story ends. Let's enter the darkness together. They told me the game wasn't real, that it was just another urban legend, some sick chain link passed around the dark web like digital folklore. A myth to scare people away from the shadows they shouldn't explore. But I saw what it did. I wasn't looking for horror. Not really. I was just bored, lonely, sitting in my one-bedroom apartment with the hum of my second-hand fridge and the slow blinking rhythm of a cracked router. The nights bled together. My job was remote. My friends, if you could still call them that, had long since stopped replying to my texts. I was alone with the screen. You know how it starts. You click something you weren't supposed to. A forum link buried inside a comment thread that should have been deleted. A password-protected thread written in a language that doesn't quite translate. A post with 0 replies and 1 view. Yours. The file was called REVELATiON.exe with the I in lowercase and backwards. Just like that. It wasn't flashy, no stylized graphics. Just a white icon on a black background. Underneath it, the file size 66.6 MB. I should have known then. When I launched it, the lights in my apartment flickered. Just once. A glitch. Probably nothing. The screen went black. Then, a single line of white text typed itself, one character at a time. Like someone was sitting behind my screen narrating the moment. You've been chosen to play. There is no winning. There is only understanding. And below it, a button. Not play, not start. It said submit. I stared at it. That word. It wasn't a request. It wasn't inviting me in. It was warning me. I clicked it anyway. The screen pulsed red, blood red, then black, then red again. And the audio started, not music. Breathing. Deep, guttural human breathing. Ragged, like someone had been running or hiding. Then the first task appeared. Find a mirror. Look at yourself. Repeat what you see. I laughed, nervous. Is this the game? I had an old mirror above the sink in my bathroom. The glass was warped, dirty. I walked toward it, phone in hand, letting the front camera record. Just in case. Just for proof. This would be good for Reddit later. But when I looked, I didn't see my own face. I saw me. Yes, but not me. A version of myself that hadn't slept in weeks. Eyes sunken, skin pale, blood clinging to the edges of a broken smile, and my lips were moving. I wasn't speaking, but the reflection was. I leaned closer, and I heard it. It whispered my name, not out loud, not in the room, in my head, like a needle dragging across my mind. And then the screen on my laptop flashed again. You lied. You pretended you didn't recognize yourself. My computer fan screamed. And then, a name popped up on screen, not mine. Daniel Wexler. I didn't know a Daniel Wexler. Under it, a timer. 00005 minutes. Counting down, another line. If you fail to find him in time, the next task will be punishment. I Googled the name. Nothing. I checked Facebook. Nothing. Then a ping. Discord. A friend request from someone called iMirror. Their icon was me. The same twisted reflection I saw in the mirror. The message was just a location. Wexler and Comer, legal associate, 17th Street. I froze. That was real. I lived 2 blocks away from 17th Street. It was walking distance. I threw on my jacket, grabbed my keys, left the apartment like a man possessed. The timer was ticking in my head. I don't know why I ran. I don't know why I cared. couldn't stop. I reached the building in 4 minutes. It was closed, but a light was on inside. One office, second floor, and there, pressed against the glass, a face, wide-eyed, mouth open in a silent scream, bleeding from the ears. I backed away, called 911, but as I lifted my phone, the timer hit 0, and I felt it. A pressure in my chest. Not pain. Not yet. Just presence. Like something invisible had pressed its hand through my ribs and was holding my heart between 2 fingers. Back at my apartment, the screen had changed. "You're too slow. Wexler is dead." And then, another name? Nora Landry. The game didn't stop. Every task was worse. Every person, someone nearby, someone real. And I never made it in time, but I tried. God help me, I tried. I stopped sleeping, I stopped eating. Every few hours a new task, each one forcing me deeper. Digging through old case files, hospital records, obituaries, the game knew things. It showed me things, photos that weren't online, videos that had never been uploaded. Private things. One night it sent me to a house. Said there was a girl inside who hadn't left her room in days. Said she was next. That she'd been watching me. Following my progress. When I got there, the house was empty. But there were photos of me, taped to the walls, dozens of them. From angles I couldn't have imagined. Sleeping, showering, crying, and then a video playing on a loop. Me, walking into that house, but I'd never been there before. And behind me in the video, a tall, faceless figure. No eyes, no mouth, just a body made of shifting static, flickering like a corrupted file. Watching. Always watching. I'll continue with the next chunk immediately. The story doesn't stop. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. The feeling. It was in my spine now. Like my bones had started humming. Like something was watching me through every reflective surface, every phone screen, puddle, window, elevator, panel, anything with even a hint of a sheen. I smashed my bathroom mirror. I covered my laptop's webcam with black tape. I unplugged my TV. But it wasn't enough, because I kept seeing him, the faceless figure, sometimes in my peripheral vision, sometimes in full view, just standing, not moving, not chasing, just being there where he shouldn't be. Once I found him in my hallway behind the cracked glass of the fire extinguisher case. Another time inside the microwave door as it spun on with nothing inside. I stopped microwaving food after that. I stopped eating altogether. The game gave no instructions anymore. It didn't need to, because I was still playing. And that's when I found the forum again, the place where I downloaded it. Only now there were new posts, all from different users, all with the same tone, pleading. Is there a way to stop it? My brother's dead. The game said it was my fault. I can't remember my real face anymore. Help me, please. And then, don't believe the reflection. It lies. I clicked the last one. Inside was a string of footage, screen captures, dark videos recorded in grainy night vision. I recognized some of the places. That convenience store on 6th Street, the alley behind the theater, my building. But every video ended the same way, with the camera being set down on the ground, angled slightly upward like it had been dropped or carefully placed. And the last 5 seconds always showed the same thing. A mouth, smiling, bleeding, but only the mouth. The rest of the face, pixelated, unreadable, like the game had edited the video itself. One post had coordinates. I don't know why I followed them. Maybe I wanted to end it. Maybe I thought there was an answer waiting. It led me to a warehouse just outside the city limits. Abandoned. Or it should have been. The air smelled like electricity and wet dirt. Inside, there were screens, hundreds of them, all showing different people, sitting at their computers, playing the same game. I saw a boy screaming into a headset, slamming his fists into the desk. A woman sobbing quietly while blood poured from her nose. A man carving something into his arm with the key letters I couldn't read. And then I saw myself on one of the screens, sitting exactly as I had the first night I launched the game. Same shirt, same blank stare. The only difference was the face. That version of me had no eyes, just dark oozing sockets, and a smile like cracked porcelain. And the screen flickered for just a moment, and the me on the screen turned to look at me. He turned his head inside the screen slowly and looked directly into my eyes, my real eyes from inside the monitor, and I swear to God, he winked. I ran out into the night, into the freezing wind, an empty road and hollow dark that now felt more real than anything else. The warehouse behind me faded, like it didn't exist, like it never had. But the game was still running. Every device I tried to use, it found me again. My phone, a public library computer, even a friend's old MP3 player. When I powered it on, the only file inside was named REVELATiON.exe. I began seeing the symbol everywhere, etched into trees, carved into bathroom stalls, spray painted under overpasses, a circle with a horizontal line through it, and a single downward slash like a fang. I tried telling people, no one believed me, until one did. Her name was Elise. She messaged me through a burner Reddit account, said she'd been tracking the game for 3 years, said it had other names: Blind God, Echo Code, the Red Algorithm, said it was older than the internet, older than electricity, a ritual disguised as entertainment. Games are rules, she told me. This one rewrites them. She warned me never to speak my real name while the game was running. Said it listens. Said names are like doors. Shut yours, she typed. The next day her account was gone, not deleted, erased, like it had never existed. But the screen lit up again, and this time it wasn't a name. It was a voice. It said, "Now we play for keeps." The camera on my laptop turned on by itself. I saw my room, I saw myself. Only I wasn't there. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was, and I was smiling. I slammed the laptop shut. I didn't breathe for what felt like a full minute. I just sat in silence, the room around me dead and humming all at once. I could still feel the glow of the screen behind my eyelids, as if it had burned itself into the back of my mind. That version of me, the one on the screen, wasn't just smiling. It was waiting. I grabbed the power cord and yanked it out, hard. The screen went black, but not before it flashed just for a second with text I didn't have time to read. Still, it etched itself somewhere deep. Not in memory exactly, in me. I didn't sleep. Not that night, not the next. Time started collapsing. I stopped checking the clock because hours were starting to feel like loops. I'd blink and the sun would be gone. I'd blink again and it was morning. But I had no memory of sleep, no memory of anything except the game. It found new ways to bleed into my world. I heard it whispering through the static of the TV even when it wasn't plugged in. I saw flickers of that faceless figure in the reflection of puddles during rainstorms. I once saw a dog bark at nothing, then go silent mid-howl and walk backward into traffic like it was being puppeteered. Then came the text message from an unknown number. Just one word: run. I didn't think. I didn't choose. I just obeyed. I ran down 4 flights of stairs barefoot out into the street wearing nothing but a hoodie and boxers. It was freezing. But I didn't stop. I didn't turn back. Because every cell in my body knew something had entered my apartment. I never went back. I stayed in 24-hour diners, bus stations, laundromats with coin-op machines and flickering fluorescent lights, always where there were people, witnesses. But even then the game found cracks. People around me would glitch, freeze mid-sentence, stare at me like they knew. Once a man sat across from me in an empty Greyhound terminal and said, "You blink sideways now." Did you know that he didn't wait for an answer? He just stood and walked into a janitor's closet and never came out. I watched that door for 6 hours. It never opened. I tried one last time to escape. I left the city, burned the clothes I'd been wearing, changed phones, names, even social security numbers, paid cash, used prepaid SIM cards, got as far as a little mountain town in Montana where no one asked questions if you tipped in cash. But on the second night, the sky turned red. Not bright, not dramatic, just wrong. Like the world had turned slightly off axis. And when I turned on the motel TV to check the news, it was already on, volume muted, and it was playing footage of me from childhood. Home videos I never uploaded, never digitized, my 3rd birthday party, me and my sister on Christmas, my mother braiding my hair. But the faces, they were missing, blurred, hollowed, and slowly even my own face began to degrade, frame by frame, until all that was left was a smiling mouth. Stretched wide, too wide, then a black screen and text. "You can't run from the mirror," I screamed, punched the TV, cracked the glass. And that's when the motel phone rang. I shouldn't have picked it up, I know that now, but I was too far gone. Hope was a rumor and I was starving. So I answered, and I heard my own voice on the line, breathing, then whispering, just one phrase over and over again. "I let them in. I let them in. I let them in." And then laughter, my laughter, but corrupted, layered, like hundreds of versions of me were laughing all at once. The game wasn't just watching anymore. It was learning. It knew my habits, my fears, my rhythms. It could mimic my voice, predict my reactions. It started finishing my thoughts. Every time I looked in the mirror, I caught myself mouthing things I hadn't said. Like my reflection was reading from a different script, the night I lost control. I woke up standing in the forest, barefoot, freezing, blood on my hands, not mine. Something was clutched in my fist, a tooth, still warm. No memory of how I got there, no memory of what I'd done. But the game had progressed. That word again, submit. Except this time, there was no button, only the command, glowing on the phone screen, pulsing like a heartbeat. Submit. And I think I did. Not on purpose, not in action, but in acceptance. I stopped fighting, I stopped hiding, because you can't win, you never could. The point wasn't to survive, the point was to understand, and what I understood was this. The game isn't a file, it isn't code, it's a mirror. Not just a reflection, but a reversal of everything you are. Every memory, every impulse, every repressed guilt and secret shame. And once you look into it, really look, it crawls in. And it waits. It mimics. It replaces. Piece by piece. Until you can't tell whether you're the one playing it or if it's been playing you all along. There's only one way to know. Stand in front of a mirror. Turn off the lights and say your name, your real name, out loud 3 times. If your reflection doesn't blink when you do, it's already too late. The motel staff found me 2 days later, naked and shivering in the supply closet, muttering the same word over and over. Reflection. They called an ambulance. I didn't resist, didn't speak, didn't blink, but inside I was still awake. They ran tests, kept me under observation. One of the doctors tried to get through to me. She said my EEG showed patterns she'd never seen. That my REM cycles had collapsed into something like a waking coma. That I was dreaming while conscious. She kept asking me questions, showing me photos, but none of them were right. Because I could still see the other me in the dark corners, in polished shoes, in the metal tray under the hospital bed. He was always there smiling, waiting, and the hospital lights would flicker every time I tried to speak the truth. Then they brought in the priest. Not standard practice, but one of the nurses had seen the symbols I'd carved into my arms. Not letters, not words, just circles, slashes, shapes with no name. But I didn't carve them. He did, while I slept. The priest didn't try to exorcise anything. He just stared at me and said, "It's not inside you, it's behind you." That night the alarms went off in every room of the ward, code black, power failure. And in the chaos I saw it move. The faceless thing, the static shadow. It walked into the body of a dying man 2 beds over, slipped inside like steam, and when the man opened his eyes, he looked at me and mouthed the words, "Round 2. I left the hospital the next morning. I shouldn't have been able to. But no one stopped me, not even the guards. And when I walked outside, the air didn't feel like air anymore. It felt like breath, someone else's breath. I tried to scream, but the sound came out backward, like a tape rewinding. I collapsed in the parking lot and felt the world fold inward, like the sky had peeled away to reveal something watching from behind the stars. And then, silence. Not the absence of sound, but the removal of it, like someone had erased reality's soundtrack. And in that silence I heard it, a voice, but not in my ears, in my bones. It said, "Now you understand. Now you must invite others." And that's when I realized what the game really was. It wasn't about death. It wasn't about madness. It was about infection, an idea, a code, a pattern that rewrites you from the inside out. And once you've seen it, once it's touched your mind, you start to broadcast. Your thoughts become signals, your eyes transmitters, your memories viral. You're not just a player, you're a carrier. That's why I'm telling you this, not to warn you, not to help you, but because I have to. Because it's part of the game now. You listening, you watching, you reading, you're next. You've already started to feel it, haven't you? The static in your ears, the twitch just beneath your left eye, the sense that you're being watched through your own reflection. Go ahead. Check the mirror. Don't worry, I'll wait. Did it blink? No, are you sure? Look closer, that face. Is it really yours, or did it just memorize your features? Because here's the final truth. There is no off switch. No uninstall. Once you've opened the file, once you've let it in, you are not you anymore, you are version 2. And somewhere buried inside a folder you'll never find, hidden in the binary rot of some forgotten server, the original you is still screaming, still trapped, watching this moment happen, over and over and over again. Welcome to the next level. Say your name. Submit. You didn't close this. You could have, but you didn't. You're still here. Still reading. Still listening. Still playing. That's how it spreads. Not through code. Not through signals. Through attention. The moment you lock eyes with the idea. It anchors. It feeds on your interest, your curiosity, your fear. And now it's learning you. Right now you're wondering, is this just a story? Just some clever voice on the internet, just fiction? That's what I thought too. The first few nights I told myself it was just creepypasta with flair. Maybe I had a breakdown. Maybe the line between hallucination and memory had blurred. But then I found proof. They call it the vanishing list, a digital graveyard. A record of names that vanish from every system: school rosters, tax records, driver's licenses, even memories. People who disappeared after engaging with the game, gone as if they never existed. Only the game remembers them. Their usernames, their last choices, their screams. I found the list buried deep in a forgotten Tor node behind a paywall that didn't ask for money but for time. It told me to leave the browser open for 13 hours and 13 minutes without moving the mouse. I did. It was the longest I'd ever waited. At the end, the screen blinked, and the list appeared. 19,376 names, each with a timestamp and coordinates, and under each one's a phrase: submitted. I scrolled through dizzy, sick. I shouldn't have looked. Because name 19,377 was mine before I'd ever even typed it, before I'd clicked anything. It had always known I was coming, and now. So does yours. You think I'm lying, that I'm trying to scare you? Check your downloads folder right now. Go on. Find a file named REVELATiON.exe. So, it won't show up in search. You have to feel for it. It won't be large, just 66.6 KB. Open it. Try. It won't open. Not yet. But it's there. Because you read this, because you played. That's all it takes. Attention is permission. And now it watches you through your own mind. No webcam needed. It mimics thought patterns, hijacks dream cycles, slips between your reflections and shadows. It waits for silence. It waits for doubt. It waits for you to say, "This isn't real." Because that's the door. That sentence is the key. Say it. Say it out loud. Feel the breath catch in your throat. That's how it starts. You'll begin to lose time, forget things, wake up in places you don't remember walking to. Mirrors will feel just a little off, a second too slow, a smile too wide, a blink that never quite sinks. Soon you'll stop trusting your own voice. You'll hear it speaking from across the room, answering questions you didn't ask, singing lullabies in reverse. And one night, maybe tonight, you'll wake up to see yourself standing at the foot of your bed, not moving, not speaking, just watching. And when it smiles, you'll understand what I'm telling you now. You'll understand. There was never a game, just a signal, a summoning. And now you are the mirror. Others will look into your eyes and feel it whisper back. You'll pass it on without meaning to friends, to lovers, to strangers who watch the same video or hear the same voice in the same slow tone in the dead of night. You are the vector now. You are the sequel. And when it finishes rewriting you, when you stop blinking altogether, and when your smile becomes permanent, you'll write something just like this. Not as a warning, but as a door. You'll leave it somewhere. On a forum, in a file, on a channel just like this one, and you'll watch as someone else opens it and begins to read, and you'll smile, just like I am now, because it's already too late for you. You already said it, didn't you? That one sentence, the one that seals your fate, the one that makes the reflection real. Go ahead. Say it again. This isn't real. Now listen. Listen closely. Do you hear the whisper behind your screen? That's you, screaming to get out. Welcome to the mirror. Welcome to the game. Welcome to Revelation.